what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
And we are live. Greetings to our loyal WFYL listeners around the world. Welcome back to your Philadelphia live stream, only on the Freedom Station. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in once again, because you still have the right to hear and the right to be heard. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike G. As always, with me are Philly Chris, Russ, the producer, and Liberty Lee. And you're listening to Mike G in the Morning with The Law Matters. And you can listen to our program every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. So let's be heard. I want to remind our listeners that you can participate in the free and open exchange of thoughts and ideas throughout the entire week by visiting MikeGinTheMorning.com. What's it called, Philly Chris?
MikeGinTheMorning.com.
How about you, Russ?
MikeGinTheMorning.com.
Liberty?
MikeGinTheMorning.com.
That is correct. You could check out all the shenanigans that Mike G and Philly Chris are up to throughout the entire week. Visit our shorts. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your barber, tell your Uncle Jerry, tell anybody who will listen to check us out at MikeGinTheMorning.com. I also want to remind our listeners about the powerhouse lineup we've got here at the Freedom Station. Kick off your mornings with Scott Adams. Bring you the Scott Adams Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. We've got Dan the Man Bongino. Bring you the Dan Bongino Show weekdays from noon to 3 p.m. We've got the headliner, intellectual giant Ben Shapiro. Bring you the Ben Shapiro Show weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. And finally, we love having him at the Freedom Station family. We've got Michael Knowles. Bring you the Michael Knowles Show weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. So don't forget to tune in and show him some love. And with that, you know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Hit it, Russ.
You know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
We've got a very special guest joining us today on the Mike G in the Morning program. We've got Latrice Booker, director of the Hope Pregnancy Center, joining us to talk a little bit about some very, very special upcoming events and all things that are going on. Ms. Booker, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. I could have you assured of that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how long have you been with Hope Pregnancy Center?
So yes, I've been with Whole Pregnancy Center close to 2 years now, and it has been such a delight to be the director there at the Whole Pregnancy Center. I've been able to see it up close and personal for quite a few years, so I'm grateful to be able to actually be a part of it and helping to kind of advance the work that we're doing there.
Excellent, excellent. And you have a upcoming event coming up, is that correct?
That is correct. We do. We have our annual banquet that we have pretty much every fall. It is coming up on October the 5th. And we're excited about gearing up for that. So we have a special guest of Pam Tebow, Tim Tebow's mother. She's coming to the event and ready to, share some words of her own experiences and her wisdom and being a mom and just standing for life. So we are definitely excited about that upcoming event, which is coming very quickly. It'll be here within next week or so. So we wanted to, just share that with anyone that is interested.
No, we really appreciate that. And is that something that the general public can attend, or?
That is correct. So yes, anyone that is interested in coming out, they can learn of the information and more of the details on how to purchase, more about the event, and more about what type of work we do at Hope Pregnancy Center. So if they go to multiplyhope.life, they will find a general about our work, how long we've been doing our work, but also the information regarding the banquet and where we're located. It's going to be in Drexel Hill at
Oh,
the
okay.
Drexel Brook Event Center. So we definitely encourage more and more people to come out and just sit in a room and be our guests.
I do have a couple of questions. You know, we've had Marlene Downing on this program a number of times. You know, I can't say she's a fan of the show. I say the show is a fan of her. We connected with her way back when the show first started, and love having her on. And so she's sort of given us periodic updates of what was going on in that world. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what the support looks like for the Hope Pregnancy Center these days?
Yes, I can definitely do that. And Marlene is a great friend of Hope. So I definitely appreciate her. She was able to pass the baton to myself. So Hope, we have been thriving and really vibrant over the course of the last few years. So we had the opportunity, we have a full center staff, and they come in and they're ready to and excited to help mothers and talk to mothers and encourage them. And we've been able to really save a lot of babies, honestly, but we also have been able to strengthen a lot of families, a lot of women, a lot of men, and communities as well. So we are really excited about the work that we're doing because it's mission, it's life affirming, and it's also hope being given out each and every day. So we definitely look forward to coming into the center and just being a beacon of light to anyone that might be in need to just see some sunshine.
You know, when you talk about saving babies and things of that nature, is there anything that comes to mind, any particular situation where you look back and say, wow, that was a good one? We really did something great there. I'm really proud of that. Anything in particular?
Yes, actually this year, we have quite a few, obviously,
Sure.
when we've had the opportunity to meet so many families and be connected. But this year in the spring, actually, during the Easter season, resurrection season, we had a client that was relocating here from a different state and did not have insurance any longer, didn't have, like, they were literally just here like maybe a few weeks prior. So they didn't have a doctor established or anything. And they were really in need of getting an ultrasound. And normally our ultrasounds are with our current patients and our clients. However, this person stood very much in need, and we tried to connect them with some other centers that would be able to, just provide that service. But no one would be able to help them without it occurring a really hefty bill. So our nurse assisted and helped them. And in that process, she discovered that mom was not at her best. Her vitals, her blood pressure was really skyrocketing, and she wasn't really too much close to delivering, but she wasn't so far off. So she advised her, I need you to get to the hospital ASAP. So we followed up with mom maybe like 2 days later, and that was on Good Friday, that the day before Good Friday, that we seen her. And when we spoke to her by Monday, she told us that the baby and was delivered. That we
Wow.
actually saved her life
Wow.
because her blood pressure was so high that they had to do an emergency surgery, and that
Mm.
mom and baby turned out to be okay. And if she did not show up that day, it could have went a totally different way. So that is the reason why we do the work that we're doing. That is the reason why we advocate the way that we advocate, because it's people like that that look and say, you know what, I appreciate you just taking the time to listen to my need and try to help as much as you can.
It seems to me that there's a distinction between folks like yourself helping these people in these situations and the political side of getting into pro abortion, anti abortion. But do you seem to catch some of the heat for doing what you do, even though you're really not in a political position?
Yeah, so I think people, when they look at this particular thing, they look at, you have to choose a side. You have to either
Mm.
be pro-life or pro-choice, and there's no in between. And I don't get into the politics of it. I mean, we know that that is important, and obviously I'm aware of it. And but when it comes down to it, we are in the business of family. We're in the business of lives. We're in the business of helping mothers, fathers, babies, because it is still women that still need that choice as well, or those resources as well. And when I talk to people, and I've had family members or friends that might not always agree, I ask them, their perspective. I ask them why they stand where they stand. Rather than argue a point, I want to understand what you understand. And then from there, I just say, can I offer you a different perspective? Because if we meet each other where we are and begin to educate and begin to speak and talk about the issues rather than argue our points, we begin to hear each other and be able to hopefully, meet each other where we are and help the next person to understand why we stand for life, to understand that it's beyond the headlines and beyond all of the different things that are very trigger words, I guess, or trigger points that kind of cause for the argument to happen. And I always just say we have to lead with love. If we lead with love and we show the love of Christ and just show that things are purposeful, and that we have a purpose of why we're doing what we're doing, because there are people like that young lady or others that might need that support. And even those that may have made decisions in the past for something different, they still need some form of support to be, to let them know that no one is judging you, no one is shunning you, that we're all here to provide some hope and to love on you.
Mm-hmm.
It would seem that there would be a distinction, though, between, hey, you're somebody who wants to make abortion illegal versus, hey, Hope Pregnancy Center, you're helping people who are choosing to keep their unborn children. Those are wildly different sorts of things. So what kinds of arguments would people have when they come to you? What could their gripe possibly be with Hope Pregnancy Center?
Honestly, I think it's just people not being educated all the way. And then sometimes it's just emotion. It's just some honestly, we've met people that have been through experiences where they weren't so pleasant and so great. So they lump it all together and they find the places like where Hope, and I only can speak distinctively for Hope, but it's other places that's out here that do or provide some similar services. They tend to think like this place is going to force me into something, and that is not what we're in the business of. We're in the business to provide and educate all of the information so that you can make an informed decision, that you can make a decision without pressure, without crisis, because we tend to move out of a response rather than think through what we're going to make a choice of. So people can tend to feel like that we would be those people that are trying to maneuver or cause for people or manipulate people into choices based off of past experiences, based off of people's assumptions. And with that will cause for them to be that way. But I'm here to say that's not what we are into.
Well, it sounds kind of ridiculous that somebody think that you would be forcing them to do
Exactly.
something. I mean, what do they think, that you're out there saying, okay, come get your ultrasound, and then when you go in, you guys lock them up and you leave them in there for the next 8 months and they can't get out?
Exactly. It's very ridiculous. And that's why we have to do more conversation rather than arguments, because arguments, that's just everyone getting their point across. It reminds you of a tennis match. But when you actually sit down with someone and you can be able to discuss and talk through things, then people are able to hear you and be able to understand.
When you said that you'll say to them, hey, can I offer you a different perspective? And I'm paraphrasing. Maybe I didn't say it quite the way you said it. What would
hmm
be that different perspective that you might offer somebody who's having that conversation with you?
Yeah, so I just let them know why do we do what we do. So it's more than just we meet women that are yes pregnant, that are standing in the need of walking through and coming to an understanding of either needing confirmation of pregnancy, talking through that they can have resources and help to support and raise their children, or need adoption care or ultrasounds. But then we also provide support to those that are standing in need of clothing for their children, having to have milk and formula for their children or baby supplies. So it's so many women that come into the center that need so much help. Some women that come and don't have insurance. So we help them to kind of navigate that. Some are new citizens. So they're still in the process of having to get their citizen paperwork, and they need that confirmation of pregnancy in order for them to move forward to the next step. And if they don't have someone or a place that is willing to kind of walk with them and help them through those processes, we're here, we're helping them because all of our services are free. We're able to, walk and help with them and just encourage them and let them know you're not by yourself and you don't have to be afraid. And that's a big thing, because a lot of people, it's amazing. I'm going to be honest. We see people come in, sometimes they are afraid, they're scared, and they feel like, okay, how do I face this? And no matter what the situation is, but it's an amazing thing to watch them leave with a hope, a countenance over their face of joy, or feeling like, you know what, I have purpose. I feel like I can get through this. I don't feel so hopeless. So that is also an encouraging thing when you can not only change the trajectory of that moment, but going forward in their lives.
So when somebody comes in, I understand that Hope Pregnancy Center can provide them with resources and help them in the manner that you're describing. Does
Hmm.
anybody simply want some kind of advice? Like, should I have an abortion? Should I not have an abortion? What should I do? Do people ask you those kinds of questions?
So yes, we have a very open conversation with them, depending on whatever they need to talk about. We never censor them or never make them feel as if they can't talk about things, because sometimes we may be the first place that they were able to talk about things. Sometimes women are afraid, so they've been holding it in, they've been hiding it. Some women, or they don't have a sense of community or support. So we talk to them through whatever they may be feeling, and give them whatever the best of wisdom that we can provide to them, along with anything that we have resource wise or facts, or making sure they come in for their ultrasounds if they desire. But we definitely do talk with them. Although we do not refer for abortions and we don't provide abortion details, we do talk through them with their questions that they may have, and we are honest with them about that process, as much as we can, based off of whatever they're asking particular. And we just let them we let them work through their thoughts, but we give them a place to be able to do it with a clear heart and clear mind.
So some people do ask you specific questions about, oh, if I have an abortion, what will be the ramifications physically or things like that? Like, what kinds of questions would you have to be open and honest with them about regarding?
Some I'm sorry.
No, you're right on the money. I was out of.
Sometimes that conversation comes up a lot around spiritual, if I'm honest.
Hmm.
People, first and foremost, it may be some that may have experienced them and they never shared it in the past,
Hmm.
and they are afraid. So they've been bottled up with it, they've been holding it, and that will be their first time ever allowing it to be spoken about. So then they kind of break out because of that, and just that regret. Sometimes we have some people that have a regret or remorse or sadness with it. So we talk through them with those particular things. And then for those that might be that's their first time, or they may be thinking about it, they express a lot of times their uneasiness, that although I don't really want to do this, I feel like I have no choice because of all of these things. And a lot of those things tend to be things that are like, oh, well, I don't know where I'm gonna get diapers. I don't know if I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna know, things that we have resources for, or know of different places that are free, that can support them, that can help them, that we can get them into programming so that they don't feel like this is a forced decision because these are the things that I cannot have. So it's a lot of times around the spiritual aspect of, just understanding that you're not you don't have to force yourself into a decision based off of what you think you have a lack of. And then also reassuring them that God loves you, God forgives you, God will continue to love you no matter what. And it just requires a level of coming to him and being honest to him, for those that may have that type of relationship. And for those that say, you know what, that's not the way in which my life is, we just begin to encourage them the best way that we can, where it does not allow for them to feel pressured. And they are very receptive and they're very appreciative of just having the encouragement.
Now, with the legal landscape these days, with the
Mhm.
Supreme Court of the United States overturning Roe versus Wade and the power going back to the states, you're seeing different states enact legislation that impacts abortion. And you see the people who are pro abortion coming out and talking about how women are being denied health care as a result. And the uh, narrative that they're putting out there is that you're causing all these women to have to flee to different states in order to access health care, is the way they're couching it. With this going on, do you think that it's all the more important for places like Hope Pregnancy Center to have a solid base in particular areas?
I definitely do. Honestly, sometimes people don't even know centers like this exist. And they really stand in need of the help. I had so many women that told me, like, just now after, going through the experience. Like, I didn't know that a place like this would be here, that I can talk through things, that I can be able to have support or get the initial care, like the confirmation of pregnancy and the ultrasound, especially if they're in between insurance or don't have the funds. These particular places, we provide care just as much, even if it's maybe not being the same way that another agency or another center might do it, but it's still a form of care. Like I stated, we have women that don't have insurance, so they have to kind of come to us to get the paperwork that they may need in order to apply for insurance. Going to a regular doctor's office that may require insurance. If they don't have insurance, it requires payment, and they may not be in the position to provide the payment for that resource. So we are doing a service to women just as much as any other doctor's office may be out here. And it really is a help to the community to know that they have this resource available to them.
But particularly where you have, I don't know if you would call them destinations. I don't know how you would accurately describe it, but if the claim is you have certain states where it remains legal and people are going to flock to those states in order to have abortions done if it's illegal in their home state, it would almost seem like you would need to strategically plan where to set up places like Hope Pregnancy Center to reach these people in time to have them make the decision to choose life. Is that difficult?
I would definitely agree that yes, you want to make sure that you can strategically plan, market, just make sure that you're everywhere that you can be. Over communication is not bad at all. If people see the option, if they see that it's a center maybe a few miles down the road, or see a billboard, or come online and look for something and kind of stumble across a web page, I think that is very important, because it just allows for the opportunity for them to be able to have the resource. All you can do is make sure that all the information is available, and that way a person can make a choice. So I definitely agree that it is a great thing for it to be available to them and be in the position where it's accessible. That's the word I'm looking for, the accessibility of it.
So what motivated you to devote your life to this?
So a few things. So just kind of a little quick background. I worked in healthcare pretty much all of my initial career. So I've been supporting, helping in that sense. And I still look at this as a level of healthcare. It's just mind, soul, body, it's holistic care in such a way. But I've always been a person that advocates, helps, loves on people, and tries my best to really encourage or do what I can in my position. But along with that, I was a teen mom. So I have a personal understanding when it comes to that. And I was a single mom. So I know that it's not an easy thing. So I know why people begin to, speak from the positions that they do due to those things. However, I have been able to be successful in what I'm doing. And when I mean success can be characterized by different things to different people. But my children, they have grown to be very, very well. And I've been able to do what was needed as a mom. And even though I felt at the time it was difficult, or I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, I was able to do it. And I was able to do it with my children turning out really well. I'm turning out really well. And I did not know a place like Hope Pregnancy Center existed. But along with that, I've been able to understand the personal ramifications or the impact of experiencing losing a child, due to the choice of abortion, and not even being educated in that aspect, just kind of being pushed off and doing some things based off of politics, based off of what was out there, and no one stopping me and saying, hey, can I speak to you for a second? Let me give you all of your options before you make a choice. And that was my choice. That was something that I had to go through. But I believe that I went through it so that I can personally be able to speak to this particular position. So it's really important to me, because I am, like I said, I am always about affirming life, affirming families, affirming women and men, and just letting people know you have some support, and it does not stop here. I tell my clients all the time, let's set some goals. Although you're about to become a parent or you're questioning about becoming a parent, there are still goals that you can do. There are still things about your life that still will continue to bloom, that life doesn't stop at the point of impact of finding out you're pregnant.
Now, when you realized that you were going to be a teen mom, were there people who suggested or even perhaps pressured you to have an abortion?
So I did have some people that weren't so in favor of it. So they were, like, oh, well, what about this? And your life is over. That's kind of the
Mm.
narrative that a lot of people try to spew to people. So then you begin to kind of meditate on that. But that's untrue. We've seen, so many people have gone on to be really successful. But I've had also a really small and really great support system in my parents and families. And everyone doesn't always have that. So that's why hope or sinners quite like us are that, we are that support for people, or we're an additional support. A lot of our families that come in, we people ask me all the time, well, how long would that person be a client with you? For forever, as long as they desire. We don't say, okay, your appointment's over and we're not keeping in touch with you. No, we want to keep in touch with you. We want to know how life is going on. We want to see the baby's pictures. We want to continue to be there to encourage you. So that stuff is really important. But even for the one that may have made the choice that, you know what, this isn't for me, or may have lost their child, we still stay in touch with them because it is a family and it is a community.
Are you from the area originally, Latrice? Are you from Philly?
Yes,
You
I
are?
am from
Okay.
Philadelphia.
What was your childhood like, if you don't mind me asking? Growing up in the
Yes,
area. Yeah.
my childhood, so I lived closer to like West Oak Lane area, so not too far from where we're actually located.
Mhm.
But my childhood was really well filled with lots of love and just a normal as you can. I guess that depends on who's saying, but as normal as possible. My parents, they were working, they were very encouraging, very loving, and they
Mhm.
were very present. And
Mhm.
I do appreciate, just having that type of upbringing.
That's good.
And so, how did you end up in the position? Is that something that you thought would never happen? Do you end up in a position becoming a teen mom?
No, so I didn't think it was going to happen. It wasn't something that I planned. However, it's something that just, tend to come to be. And with that, I just learned how to embrace it. I was 18 when I found out I was pregnant, and I just began to navigate. And once I found out I was pregnant, I began to raise my son, and I went on and I prepared for my college degree, and I just worked and took care of my son and went to school, and it took some time, but I got it done. And
Awesome.
it
Awesome.
also encouraged me. Thank you. It also
Mhm.
encouraged me, but it also encouraged my children, because it took a little bit for me personally because of my choices of taking it that way, but they were encouraged to watch me finish.
Mhm.
And so that's another thing. Sometimes we don't know who's watching us. We don't know why our life turns out the way that it does, but it has purpose. And we don't, we have to do what is best for ourselves, but we also learn that we have a something that God is doing through us to help and encourage somebody else.
No, it must have been very scary finding out you're going to be a teen mom.
Mhm.
Am I right?
It was very scary, but it was scary, but I took it on and I was ready. By the time I became the actual mom, I, with the help of my parents and the encouragement of them, but also just being hopeful and just praying and having my relationship with Christ, it allowed for me to recognize that I'm not going to have it all together. I'm not going to know everything that I need to do, but with time, I'll learn. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what happened.
Mindy says, "Thank you for choosing life, Latrice." Give her a hey now. Latrice. Give her a
Oh,
hey
thank
now.
you,
Hey
Mindy.
now. Hey now.
Hey now.
Big round of applause for Latrice. Good.
I do have another question, Latrice. You said that your
Mhm.
background is in healthcare. Did you find that being in healthcare, the majority of folks were pro-abortion?
Believe it or not, I wouldn't say majority. I feel like it's just kind of a little bit of half and half for those
Hmm.
that be vocal. Sometimes some people aren't always as vocal. Maybe given if they are for life and they just kind of don't want to get into the politics of things. People tend sometimes to shy away from having certain types of conversations. Then some people, they were, pretty much for people. So whatever that particular person may want. So they may have not had like a one side over the other. For the times that I've had opportunities to have conversations, not too many, but just kind of observing, and then the personal conversations. That's what my observation has been.
Because you see these prominent medical organizations coming out, and they seem to hold strong that abortion is healthcare and celebrate it almost to a degree.
Yeah.
But that's not what you see on a day-to-day basis with medical professionals. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's more so when you think of organizations and then the people that work at the organizations. When you have like the organization and their ethics or things of that nature, and I can't speak directly to everything. However, the organization in it whole, they have certain things that they stand on. But when you have each individual person and their personal beliefs, that's when it gets a little bit different. And then that's the reason why sometimes, like I stated, some people may not be as free to talk about things, given the fact that if I'm with this organization and I'm employed here, I have to make sure that I kind of go with things according to what my agreement or my contract might be. So it kind of, just allows for them maybe not to really get into the conversation so much so that they can avoid those particular things. But I do see a lot of organizations, health facilities, and things of that nature that kind of are for some of those things. But when it comes to the personal aspect, I think that's when it gets a little different.
Now, do you have people show up and give you a hard time, whether it's trying to pick a fight with you guys or protesting or vandalism or anything like that?
So we don't normally have people that are out front and doing much of that. However, last year we did have some vandalism during that, right before the overturn. Somebody decided to want to smash all our windows out and do a whole lot of different things and graffiti. But we continue to stay covered. We continue to keep working and serve our clients, and we have been covered. And I just take that to attest that to God and his covering and protecting us, because the work that we're doing is meaningful and it's helpful to many people. So I just believe that we have been just graced by him and favored by him to be protected as we do the work that we're doing.
Were those individuals brought to justice? Were they caught, or what happened with that situation?
No, because they
No.
kind of, made an online post and kind of took credit for it, but under an alias. So,
really?
they
Wow.
did as
Okay.
much investigation as they could and
Okay.
couldn't really narrow anything down.
Shocking in the area that would happen.
I'm sure if they were if they were in DC on January 6th, they would have had no way to find those people.
Oh, yeah,
right?
right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
They find them when they want to find them.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? Yeah.
They can find anybody these days. That much I can tell you. They don't find people when they don't want to find people.
No.
That's insane. Could you imagine how ignorant you'd have to be, though, to smash out the windows of Hope Pregnancy Center because of an impending legal decision? As if, first of all, as if Ms. Booker's on the Supreme Court making a decision, right? And second of all, as if your organization really has anything to do with that whatsoever. You're not involved in legislation.
Exactly.
You're not really involved in even policy, right? You're not persuading policy or anything like that. You're there to provide resources.
Yeah.
So either they're just simply ignorant and they don't know, or they're truly evil people. And just because they know that you're pro-life, I mean, it's fair to say that you guys are pro-life, even though that's not really your mission to go out there and influence policy. You are pro-life, right?
Yes.
So they have to be so evil that they believe, okay, since your position is pro-life, we don't care what you're actually doing about it and the good things that you're doing for the people in this community. You're bad. You're on the other side. We're going to smash your windows out just because that's what you believe. That's sick and it's insane.
Yeah. A lot of that going on, unfortunately. Yeah. That's
unfortunately
the current world, unfortunately.
I'm kind of baffled. I almost don't know what to say about something like that.
I mean, they want people to have healthcare, Mike. So I don't know what's wrong with you.
That never made any sense to me.
No, it's kind of an oxymoron, right?
Yeah. What other form of healthcare results in something that was living being dead at the end?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Wow.
I would think that that's sort of a fundamental flaw in healthcare. If
yeah,
if
kind kind of goes against the Hippocratic Oath. I think,
If a heartbeat
bit, yeah.
stops, then you done messed up. No.
Yeah, something's wrong. Something's wrong.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's keep the focus on Ms. Booker and her good works over here. So,
Oh, thank you.
why don't you tell us a little bit more about this event that's coming up, so our listeners can hear about it?
Yes. So again, the event is on October the 5th, and it's our annual banquet. And during the event, we have the opportunity to have our speaker. And we always have a speaker. And if you go on our website, as well as we have a YouTube page, you'll be able to see some past years of different people that have come and shared. But during that time, you get a chance to hear their story, but you'll also get a chance to hear why they came and why they stand with us on the work that we're doing. And during that time, also, you'll get a chance to hear some things that have been happening at the center, things that we've done throughout the year, and just meet some of the volunteers or some of the people that have been supporting of our ministry. And we get a chance to just have a great night out. But it is a purposeful night out. It's a night to be able to enjoy friends, enjoy family, enjoy people that stand for the same thing, but also to advocate, to encourage other people to learn more so that they can get more involved. The event will be October 5th, which is the Thursday evening, and it will be at the Drexel Brook, right in Drexel Hill, PA. And if they desire to purchase a ticket, donate to Hope, or if they desire to purchase a table as well or be a sponsor, you can go to multiplyhope.life, and there you will find the information on our banquet and all the details about who we are and why we do what we do.
Multiplyhope.life. Did I get that right? Is that it right there?
Let's see, multiplyhope.life. Yes.
There we go. So everybody's got it. They're going to get people to sign up and show up at the event. That would be fantastic.
And just so everyone does know, the event is on October 5th, but the last day to purchase any tickets would be September the 27th.
Oh, wow.
A few more days.
September the 27th is the cutoff.
That is the cutoff.
6 days.
6 days. I got to get that up there next. I'll get that up there. Act fast. 9/27 is the deadline.
Is the deadline.
Get on there and get your tickets now. Hey, they could very well sell up before 9/27 anyhow, right?
Yes, they can.
Yeah. You're not going to have room to go check out. Are you going to be giving a speech there?
I will be speaking briefly, just giving an update about the center and sharing some more work that we're doing. So yes, I will be there speaking.
Excellent.
That's amazing. You got to get your tickets. Get your tickets.
Get them now. Get them now.
Get your tickets.
Operators are standing by.
Mindy says the PA March for Life is on October 16th at the Capitol in Harrisburg. Is that something that you folks are a part of as well?
Yes, we have had the opportunity to go up, and it's really an amazing thing just to go up and to support and to see some fellow friends that that you may know personally, or to meet some new people. It's a great opportunity to learn more, to hear some more people that are in this work, because there's so many people that do things in so many capacities. Like how you were sharing earlier, some people are in the politics of it. Some people are in the legislative of it. Some people are just on the ground and they're praying in front of these clinics. So it's a number of different ways that people are supporting or just being a part. So it is a great time just to get up there in Harrisburg. If you haven't ever been, it is a good time just to take that drive if you're nearby, and just come and check us out.
You're talking about the people who pray outside of the abortion clinics. There's one in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and I happened to be driving by one day. It was just a sweet little lady holding a sign saying, "Pray to end abortion." That's it. Not saying you're a terrible person, you're going to hell if you do this. Nothing like that. Just pray to end abortion. And it seems that for some reason we can't have this we can't separate the conversation as to whether people think abortion should be legal versus whether abortion is good or bad. It seems like those all get lumped into one conversation. Now, you may very well end up landing on the position that it's bad and it should be illegal, but I think they're definitely two separate conversations that people should have. But ultimately, this lady just pray to end abortion. Whether or not it's legal, it's bad. We don't like it. It's not good. Please don't do this. Please choose life.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe the amount of hate that this woman was getting from college students walking by, and people who worked at the clinic and everything like that. It was just absolutely crazy. It seemed like the most benign message that you could possibly get when it comes to a very contentious topic. If you can't at least say, hey, we should keep as many human beings alive as possible, right? Don't stop the beating hearts. It would be awesome. I don't understand how it goes to the extreme when every single type of setting when it comes to this stuff. But anyhow, I probably went off on a little bit of a tangent there.
No, we definitely understand though.
Chris, what do you think about all this stuff? You've been around a lot longer than I.
Yeah, I'm definitely the oldest one here. Yeah, it's so great what you're doing, Latrice. It's amazing to me that more people haven't come around to support life and be pro-life, especially with everything going on in the world and all the negativity. I think it's sad, but I see locally. That's why I asked you a little bit about your history here in Philly. It's the political landscape and the way that, like you said, people are
Weren't
told
they
at a young
putting up
age it's going
signs
to
in the
ruin your
city
life.
for a long time, Chris? Weren't they putting up signs for a while over the last couple of
Yeah,
years?
yeah. During the election, there was a lot of things about, in certain parts of the city, especially about, pro-choice and, stop the racist. Like the Democrats had all that stuff up on the polls in certain parts of the city, which was interesting. They're pretty strategic in their approach. But, it seems, especially locally in the big cities, the blue cities, the youth are encouraged to look at it in such a negative way, and it's going to ruin your life and destroy your future, and it's not a baby and all that. So it's really crazy, but
Well,
it's
they
amazing
also
what you
make it
guys are
seem
doing.
like,
Yeah.
because they always talk about, well, what about the life of the mother? They
Mm.
make it seem like this is some prominent thing, like pregnancy is a death sentence. Like
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
you
Like
don't
it's a
get an
worse thing,
abortion.
even though they were here because of a pregnancy.
It's
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah, it's kind
incredibly
of crazy.
dangerous, and this is really prominent. Ms.
Right.
Booker,
Right.
do you have people walking into your office every day who they say, hey, I really don't want to get an abortion, but if I don't, I'm going to die? Like, is
Mhm.
that something that's incredibly prominent?
No, we don't see that often at all. So no, I would have to say that would be a no.
When you have conversations, Latrice, with people kind of on the other side of the fence, or
Mhm.
who are really more about and getting the abortion, how do you get through to them? Like when you have conversations with those people, have you found there's certain things that you can say or talk about that work? Like, what's your experience with that?
So honestly, the experience is, and this goes for even those that that chooses life. Each person is different, so you have
Mhm.
to encounter that person with that person. And my approach is not to just go right in and say you need to do this, you need to do that, or this is the
Mhm.
option, this is the option. They just simply need someone to listen. And
Mhm.
I just sit and we just listen. When we hear their heart, we hear where they are, we hear their position, and then we begin to ask questions that they may have, and from there it prompts things that they may have. And that's when you listen, you get a chance to hear where a person is, and
Mhm.
then they will begin to share, well, this is the reason why I'm making this choice, or I'm adamant about this choice, because
Mhm.
sometimes we may have that. And we just say, okay, we understand. Let me just offer this particular understanding that this is available to you and this is available to you. So before you make any decision or any choice, can you please make sure that you read this information or consider this or think about this? I've had young ladies that honestly were very adamant. One lady I seen her the day before her appointment that she had scheduled for her abortion.
Wow.
And she was like, I'm going to get my abortion. I just came
Mhm.
in here because, my significant other really wanted me to come, but I'm sure about my choice.
Mm.
So I listened to her. She needed to just really have an open space. And I listened to
Mhm.
her for hours.
Mm.
I extended the time so that she would have that opportunity. And then
Awesome.
I just shared with her just some things and let her know like what was available to her. And she asked, things that I might have went through. And I explained to her my own personal story
Mm.
in
That's
such a
great.
way. And with that, she still was like, well, I'm not sure. I think that I'm still moving forward. And I said, okay,
Mm.
just make sure that you take this evening and just think about things. I want you to write down some goals. I want you to write down this for you. And I said, and I'll check on you in a few more days just to see where you are. When I checked on
Mhm.
her a few more days, she actually reached out to me before I can reach out to her. And she said, I
Oh,
don't know if you remembered me, but what you said to me is stuck out to me.
mm,
And I
awesome.
decided to keep my baby because of it.
Wow.
And it
That's great.
wasn't a conversation of trying to manipulate or force. It just
Mhm.
was how you and I are having a conversation
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
beginning to just really understand each other and get to know one another. And with that, it allowed for her to come out of a place of thinking in crisis and thinking in, what she thought was barriers and understanding for herself, that these things aren't so much of a barrier. If I think about it and I really allow myself to be clear in my thinking process, I'm actually okay. So
Gotcha.
when we have those people that are, maybe a little bit more adamant, honestly, you meet them where they are and you give them what they need.
That's
Sounds
fantastic.
good. Sounds good.
It
Yeah.
sounds like
Great.
a
Great
tough
job.
job. I
Yeah.
don't envy you. Sounds like a very tough job, Miss Booker.
Yeah.
It is
Definitely.
a heavy job, but I'm grateful because somebody has to do it, and I appreciate the fact that I'm doing it and I have a heart to do it. Because can you imagine talking to someone that might just be very abrasive or very short? But given the opportunity to be able to just be a compassionate and caring person, it really helps to be able to do this work when it's heavy in other
Mhm.
areas.
Well,
Mhm.
you talk about talking to somebody who's not cut out for that job. You said the lady was in there, you were listening to her for hours. Somebody who didn't have patience was like, you know what? Never mind. Get out of here. Do what you were going to do. I don't care
I
anymore.
got stuff to do
I
today.
don't have 3 hours for this. I got stuff to do. Yeah, but Denise makes a very good point here, and it shows the extra level of importance to what you're doing here. Denise makes a great point, says
Mhm.
valuing life is the root cause of our division in this country. And I think
Mm,
she's spot on there because I
yes.
think that what we're seeing in terms of people murdering one another in the streets in this country
Mhm.
comes down to the fact that we have gone astray with our culture. We do not
Mm,
have the values that we once had in this country. We do not have the respect for human life that we once had in this country.
Yeah.
And by
yeah.
what you're doing, you're helping instill those values and sort of resurface that respect in many people on an individual level. So we really thank you for doing that, Ms. Booker. One last time, tell everybody the website where they could get tickets before 9/27 because that's the deadline and they're going to be sold out and you're going to miss out on it. Don't miss the boat.
Yes, please go to multiplyhope.life.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you'll join us again sometime soon.
Yes, I really enjoyed talking with you, and thank you again for having me on. You
Yeah, of
all
course.
have a wonderful evening.
You
Well, wonderful
too.
morning.
Morning, Mike G in the morning. Pleasure
Good
is
morning. It's
ours.
all the
Thanks
same.
again.
Thanks, Latrice.
All right. For those of us just tuning in, you're listening to Mike G in the morning with The Law Matters, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. That was fantastic, Chris. We're really glad that
Yeah.
we got her to come on.
Yeah. Good stuff there. Doing
Excellent.
good work over there. Thank you.
Doing
Special shout
great
out to
work.
Marlene for helping us set that up too
Special
as
shout
well.
out to Marlene,
Hey now. Hey
friend of
now.
the program.
Yep.
So, what I want to do with our last few minutes here is we've got a tweet that I came across having to deal with the Hunter Biden, somebody on the left sort of trying to put the shoe on the other foot. So,
Mhm.
Russ, if you don't mind, why don't you bring up that tweet so we could talk a little bit about this? Maybe we could do it this way. Oh, no,
Okay.
that's not going to
Okay.
work. Maybe, yeah, there you go. I think that works better.
All
If
right.
you put that. Okay, so if you can see on the screen, the post is from Mo Davis. Is that what it says? Air Force required. I think okay, so it's a quote by Kid Rock. It's a picture of Kid Rock holding a gun. And the quote is, I think I did every drug known to mankind, smoked crack, boozed, dropped acid, you name it. And then he writes, Kid Rock, admitted drug abuser with a gun. So obviously the comparison is, oh, well, Hunter Biden's now in trouble because he lied and said that he was not an unlawful user of narcotics or addicted to a controlled substance. And he, in fact, was. And filled out the 4473. So, Russ, why don't you go down? Because, first of all, what's wrong with the tweet in and of itself? Let's go back to the top because I just want to point this out. Under federal law, if you're an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance, then you are prohibited from possessing firearms. It's federal law. what do you see as the problem with that tweet and the point that he's trying to make based upon what I just told you, Chris?
Well, one thing that stands out is it's past tense. So
Okay, ding, 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 ding. You're so smart. I'm so proud
I
of
don't know
you.
about that. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You're
That's my
so smart. How many of us got the answer to that question? I should have polled the audience. I should have polled the
Oh,
audience.
yeah, it would have been a good poll.
All right, so here's what we'll do for the rest of the dumb tweets and responses. And the reason why I had Russ bring this up, because there are so many stupid, ignorant responses from both sides.
Right.
So reading the responses to this tweet just about made my head explode. I started to type out a response to certain people, and then I was like, you know what? I'll be here all night, and it's just going to give me a headache with how stupid these people are.
Yeah.
And just a word of advice: if you don't know what you're talking about, maybe just don't talk. Right?
Well, most people don't do that, Michael.
If you don't know what you're talking about, maybe just don't talk. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to not talk or not comment on something. We don't need to hear everything that you think about everything.
Are you telling people on Twitter to lawyer up and shut up, basically?
No, I'm telling it just plain old shut up.
Yeah,
That's what
just,
I'm telling it.
just plain shut up. Just be quiet.
It doesn't have to be lawyer up and shut up.
Yeah,
Just plain
right.
old please shut up.
Well,
Please shut up if you don't know what you're talking about.
The
That's
internet
all.
is full of it.
Let's see if we get some of these replies.
Yeah, let's check
on
it
there,
out.
if that's available, Russell.
Yeah.
Russell, the producer.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Russell L. Producer.
Joining us this evening live.
Allegedly.
He's
Allegedly.
back.
That's right. Allegedly.
He's back.
Yeah, he's back. All right. Welcome back.
Do you know how to get hold of those replies, sir?
Maybe you click on them at the bottom there or something.
There are none at the bottom.
Oh.
I don't know.
Maybe the comment bubble. Is it the comment bubble on the left? Maybe.
Isn't that the post a comment?
Oh, you gotta log in, Russ. You don't have an extra account. What are you doing over there?
No, I deleted mine.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Oh, hey now. Hey now.
Yeah, they wanted me to like.
Yeah.
You're killing me, Smalls. This is
You
what
might
the
have
whole
to get an
program's
account
about.
so we can.
Well, they wanted me to. Holy crap!
Whoa!
Why's my phone going nuts?
Whoa! Hey now.
What is that?
There?
What is
Your
that?
pizza, your pizza just showed up.
No. I've never heard somebody's phone blow up quite like that. What happened?
Everybody's chiming
don't
in.
worry about it.
Yeah.
Tell us what that was. I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah, no, it's a little crazy.
No, I got rid of the Twitter account because they wanted me to disable two-factor authentication. They put it behind the paywall, and I'm like, nope, I'm out.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
So you didn't want somebody hacking into your Twitter?
Nope.
Come on, man. It'd be fun. Thanks, Denise.
Let me see if I can log into this from my page using Mike G in the morning.
You mean you're gonna have to do it?
Quotes?
How
Nope.
unusual.
Wants me to log in. No matter what I do, it's harassing me to log in.
Couldn't you try logging in through Mike G in the morning? Because you have that set up, don't you?
I don't have your password, Mike, and I don't think it'd be advisable.
My password is the show's password.
For Twitter?
What's
Might
the
be different
dude's
for Twitter.
What's the dude's name again? What's his handle?
Mo Davis, U.S. Air Force retired. Colonel Morris Day. Oh, he's a colonel, huh? I'm assuming that's what that means. Colonel Mo
He
Davis.
sells chicken for a living.
All right, some homework, Russ, for next week. Get a Russ the Producer Twitter account.
Russ the Producer. Yeah, there
Russ
you go.
the Producer.
Nope.
Huge on social media.
What's the date of the tweet, Russ?
I don't know.
You're asking a lot of difficult questions, Mike.
It doesn't actually say what the date was. So, Mike, you sent me the tweet. I don't know why you're asking me for this.
Because I'm not looking down at my cell phone right now.
You
Russ,
hidden
that's why.
replies.
Your phone isn't blowing up, Mike?
It doesn't want me to view the hidden replies.
Here we go. I might be able to do this.
No, I just turned my iPod on for the first time in like a month.
Uh-oh.
And that's all the notifications rolling through.
You have an iPod?
Yes.
They stopped making those a while ago?
Yeah, they did. That's why I grabbed one, because they're only going to increase in price.
Did I get it?
One?
Are we good?
Yeah, I think you got it.
Oh, I'm seeing double, you guys.
Double.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Now-
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Boy.
My
Can you
eyes.
see
are
this?
There we
broken.
go. Mike figured it out. Big surprise.
All right. So you can
goody.
see nobody cares what you think, Tyrant. You can see that.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
What is
I can see it.
this?
It's small, but I can
What
see it.
new is
What's your
this?
point, Colonel? Did he lie on a federal firearms purchase application? It was the question.
That doesn't matter.
And-
He's a Biden, so that's okay.
Well, no. Let's unpack this.
Is he still selling
unpack
artwork?
this.
Can you still get his artwork?
The response was, if he did, you would want him to go to jail for that, right? The
Hmm.
response is, I would want him prosecuted for breaking the law. I don't know what the penalties are for that crime, but I hope it is not a slap on the wrist. I was going to respond to you, but you're a bot op. Your timeline is full of pro-student loan forgiveness and also climate change is a hoax crap. That, or you have a split personality that shares the same account. Somebody
She
says,
will be
I'm totally
attending,
against
Mindy.
student loan forgiveness and have repeatedly posted against it. Additionally, overall climate change caused by man is a hoax. All right.
Hmm.
And somebody writes, had to have to get the gun. Okay, this is the dumbest exchange right here. Okay. Question is, did he lie on a federal firearms purchase application? That's strike one. The response is had to have to get the gun. That's strike two. Do you know if that is his gun? Strike three.
Hmm.
So, and
pretty
they say,
much
what
just
strikes
all
you
wrong.
as more ethical? Use guns on drugs as long as you don't own it. All right. So, what's wrong with Carl's comment? Did he lie on a federal firearms purchase application? Because he's saying, oh, well, the difference is he didn't lie on a federal firearms purchase application. That's the question. Did he lie on a federal firearms purchase application? What's wrong with that question, Chris?
Well, I assume number one, we don't know how he responded, but also doesn't the question say, "Are you a current user?" or something like that?
Are you an unlawful user? Right.
Unlawful,
So,
right.
So if he were an unlawful user, yet he didn't lie on the federal firearms purchase application, what he's talking about is Form 4473, right? The record of transfer.
4473, ladies.
Would that matter based on whether what's going on is legal or illegal? Would that matter?
If he lied, you're saying?
Yeah, let's say he's saying, oh, well, the point he's making by asking that question is, oh, well, the difference is Kid Rock didn't lie on a federal firearms purchase application. That's what he's saying. He didn't lie on the 4473. Does that make a difference based on the information we have here?
Not really.
No, right?
No,
Because if he's prohibited from possessing firearms based on being an unlawful user, then we really don't have to get into what his answers were on the form.
This is why everybody needs you, though, Mike, because nobody knows what the heck is going on. It's pretty evident.
So idiot starts with the false premise because he's saying, well, he did these drugs. He's an admitted drug abuser. No. The question doesn't the criteria isn't have you ever used a drug in your entire life? Did you ever use drugs? No. Are you an unlawful user? And the courts have said that you have to have a pattern of prolonged use. Now, I'm not saying Kid Rock does not, but I'm saying the information that he's providing here is irrelevant.
Right.
And I'm saying that this sarcastic question trying to respond to this idiot who posted this is also off the mark here because he's bringing it back to the Form 4473 rather than discussing the fact that an unlawful user is a prohibited person. Then this next person says had to have to get the gun. True or false, Chris?
It's false, right? False.
You do not have to fill out a Form 4473 in order to get a long gun, right? Or even under federal law, a handgun, you could be in a state that doesn't require going through an FFL for a private transfer. So the answer is 100% no, that's not true. And then we get another response that's totally off the mark. Says, do you know if that is his gun? Now, if he is a prohibited person as an unlawful user, Chris, do you think it matters whether or not it's his gun?
It doesn't matter.
Right?
He's in possession.
Do you think that the law only applies if it's your own gun? Law says I can't have my own gun, but I could use yours instead.
Right. If it's Tuesday, it's okay.
I'm only prohibited from possessing my own gun. I could possess your gun.
No, I can handle other people's guns. That's fine.
Somebody wrote, clearly he did lie on the forum, or he would not have gotten the gun legally, hence the tweet. Clearly you're all a bunch of morons, hence all your tweets.
You should respond right now live on the air.
Okay. This is, you do not know that if you're not addicted to a drug, and answered in the negative, you're not lying. Well, no, because the question doesn't ask if you're only addicted. Are you an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance? Okay, and now another idiot response. It does ask if you are. It doesn't ask if you are addicted. It asks if you have used drugs. Wrong again. It does ask if you're addicted.
Apparently.
And it does not ask if you have used drugs. It does
Right.
not.
Mm-hmm.
Are you an unlawful user or
Now, if somebody has a medical card and they answer that no, but under federal law, so how does that work?
they are still an unlawful user?
Still an unlawful because
it
it's
is
federal law. Yeah.
it is illegal under federal law.
Under federal law. Federal
You're
law.
talking about medical card for marijuana. You can even be an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance if you're on methadone or Suboxone, because the feds have said that indicates that you have an addiction by using. You could be
Okay.
talk about the difference between dependency and addiction, but
all
they
the
don't
fine
really
print
see
there.
that distinction.
Mm.
Addicted to a controlled substance. Somebody says most likely he did. Well, I guess that's just conjecture.
Most likely, sure, whatever.
And now this other guy says, I mean, if he was honest on the application and said what he said above, and they gave him a gun, kind of creates a whole other issue, don't you think?
Hmm.
Well, the issue, the question doesn't ask, have you ever used drugs in your entire life?
Yeah.
So he could have been honest on the application. Let's say he used to do drugs, right?
Sure.
So fact A is Kid Rock did every drug known to mankind, smoke, crack, booze, dropped acid, you name it. Okay? He did every drug known to mankind.
How do they know that, by the way?
He no longer, right. That's another question, right?
How do they know that?
This is a guy who his whole deal is talking wild stuff like that, right?
Right.
I mean, if you played a character on TV where you did all that stuff, does that count too?
Well, it depends.
I'm sure musicians are always 100% honest about their lifestyle, right?
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure that the fans of your music want to hear that you go to bed at 9 o'clock after reading the newspaper, right?
Right.
I'm sure nobody plays up their rock and roll lifestyle.
None of it's an act.
Nobody
real.
ever plays up their rock and roll lifestyle as a rock star.
Never happened. Never gonna happen.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
He studied for the drug test by taking all the drugs.
Well, hey, you got to understand them, right?
He knows all the effects,
Mm-hmm.
both good and bad.
Right. Crazy. What was that meme, Mike?
The meme says, who's a bigger threat with guns in the U.S.? The state, 4 million guns, 2 million officers, killed 4 to 6 million people in the past 20 years. I don't know the accuracy of that statement.
How many guns did they lose in Afghanistan, too?
A lot, as Trump would say, a lot. The number was huge.
Yes. Don't want to hear it from anybody in this administration.
And somebody says, so how did he obtain the weapons without lying on the application? Well,
was no application, if it's even his gun.
May or may not have been an application, but we don't have all the pieces of the puzzle here.
Certainly don't have all the facts.
Done drugs before.
Mm-hmm. We don't know the totality of the circumstances.
Sure don't.
Yep.
Let's see what else. What other knucklehead stuff?
There?
Oh, great! Somebody was wise enough to post the actual. Oh, okay, wrong again. So this guy was smart enough to post the Form 4473 question. Are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic drug, or any other controlled substance? Warning, the use or possession of marijuana remains unlawful under federal law, regardless of whether it has been legalized or decriminalized for medicinal or recreational purposes in the state where you reside. Okay? Response. That's a form for a pistol. I forgot that the 4473 is only
pistol.
It's not.
What do you know, Mike? What do you know?
Buy a firearm from a dealer, period. You're filling out that form 4473 and submitting to a background check. That being said, there are ways to lawfully purchase firearms in some states in the United States of America through a private party. Now, the bottom line is, just because you don't have to fill out the Form 4473 doesn't mean that you're not bound by the federal law 922G, right?
You just ignore that.
Really what they're doing with the 4473, they're running you through the criteria. And just because the law doesn't require you to go through an FFL, fill out the form, submit to the background check,
Right.
doesn't mean that you don't have to meet that criteria. So I think that's enough for one night. What do you think?
Yeah, there we have it, brother. Good show. Good show.
All right.
His name is Kid Rock.
Kid Rock.
Somebody said Mo Davis is cucked.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody posted something and said, visibility limited. This post may violate X's rules against hateful conduct.
Oh, my. So many rules. What's the hateful conduct?
Maybe you don't.
Well, it's actually the hateful conduct. It says, hey, R word. That's talking about at the same time. He's talking about his past while Hunter was on the dope while applying for the gun. Holy S word. Some of you R words really need to think before posting dumb S word.
All right, a little hateful there.
Well, the hateful profanity laden comment was actually the most intelligent one of all.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Go figure. Go figure. Oh my gosh.
Actually, the most thoughtful comment of any of the ones that we saw so far.
That makes the most sense. And then they almost banned it.
It's quite rude.
Yeah.
Quite rude.
Each platform has their own rules of words you can and can't say.
Good luck with figuring any of them out these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was magnificent. We thank our guest for joining us today, Ms. Booker. Don't forget to sign up, get yourself some tickets. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That's all the time we got for today. Stick around for We the People, the Constitution Matters. Pastor Dave Whitney, Professor Phil Duffy. We miss you, Ellie. Daddy loves you.